Hi guys, welcome back. So this week we're going to get stuck into the wiring loom for the sports dash for the XA. I do have a proper loom that was converted by the guys over at XA Falcon Spares in Western Australia. So we're going to have a look at the differences between that and the standard Falcon 500 one from an XA or an XB. The weather last night, the storms came through. We didn't get a hell of a lot. We got a lot of wind and made a bit of a mess, but we didn't really get any of the rain that everyone out towards Ipswich and Bow Desert got, so we're lucky that way. But it's not really going to suit painting, so probably won't get any high fill on the XK doors to seal them up this weekend, but we might get a bit more blocking done and finish them off, get them ready so they're ready to go when the weather does turn favourable. But the main thing we're going to do is we're going to turn you around and get you into this set of looms and show you the differences. So this one over here is the one that came with the dash, and it ended up being out of a standard Falcon 500, Fairmont 500, just a basic speedo dash. This one over here is the one that I got from XA Spares in Western Australia. So as a whole, they're the same loom. Same socket connectors there to join into the main loom, same bolt connectors, and the same cluster connector. But the cluster connectors have slightly less wires going to it, obviously, into the sports dash loom, because the ones that would normally go there on the Falcon 500 dash are coming up into the ones there for the ancillary gauges across the top. So first things first, we're going to ID the difference between these two plugs that go into the dash, or the cluster, sorry, and we'll see what the difference is going to be down in here. So these are numbered. So okay, on that side, numbers 1 through 6. On the Falcon 500, there's 2 blacks going to terminal 2, which is going to be your earths, a white with a blue going to number 4, and 5 is green with a white trace, and 6 is solid green. On the GS loom, now this was a Falcon 500 loom that they converted because the sports dash looms are so hard to get a hold of. Number 2 is still an earth. Number 4 still white with blue. 5 is green with a white. 6 is green solid. So that side of the plug stays the same and the pinouts are all the same. On the back side, 7, terminal 7 on the Falcon 500 dash is empty. On the GS loom, it is the yellow with a white trace. Number 8 is empty on the GS dash, and on the 500 dash it's red with a white trace. 9 again is a black, looks like an earth. 10 and 11 are blank on the GS dash, whereas number 10 on the 500 dash is the yellow with a white, which is the one that should be in number 7 for the GS loom. 11 is blank on both, and 12 is blue with a black trace on both. So realistically, the only difference coming down here on that side of the block, the yellow with a white needs to be pinned out and pushed across to number 7. And that's it for there. Alright, so we'll check some continuity, and what I might do is I might even unwrap this loom to try and make it a little bit neater and work out what we're working with. Okay guys, so what we've been doing is we've been going through with our multimeter, and we've just got it set on ohms and set so that when we find a wire, it gives us audible chime, so I'm not having to look backwards and forth. So, and what we've done is we've gone through and each and every terminal on there we've hooked our ground up to, and then we've taken our probe and gone through the entire loom and worked out where they're going and whatnot. And we're doing it on the Falcon 500 dash and the GS dash. So we already know on the blue block, this terminal up here on the Falcon 500 dash is empty, and on this one he's put a wire in there. That's our tack signal, so we know that one's different already. It's not on this part of the loom that goes under the dash. On the other side of this plug that goes to the engine bay, that wire's already there on the XAs and XBs, so they've just left it out on this part. We have to add that in. All well and good, that's easy enough. We've also now found on the green plug, all these other ones in the blue are the same. They all match up and they all go to the same places there as they do there. All the green ones match up until we got to, where is it back here? The red with a white trace, which is top row of the green plug, last one there. That one on the GS loom goes to a standalone single one. Red with a white is on this terminal over here, going to terminal 8, because it went to the standard dash cluster with the idiot lights and the temp and fuel gauge. Terminal 8 on here is empty. So that is now going to be our terminal that we sacrifice, we take out of there. That's going to be the one we rewire and put into our tack signal. And the wire from there we're going to cut off and then unpick the loom and run it out where it needs to be to go to the single connector which goes to our oil gauge on our GS loom. So I'll turn the camera off, I'll get this unloomed, and then we'll show you a bit more of that, and then we'll show you how we're going through picking these out. I just wanted to get the majority of it done first because it is time consuming and boring, and I'm still learning as I go. So I'll pop these up here, we'll get this loom unpicked and we'll get it swapped over. Okay, so I've got the Falcon 500 loom untaped from the cluster plug back to where this group of idiot lights came out. So it's about halfway along the loom, and I've stopped there because this branch here is where the red with a white wire that would normally go to there needs to come out and go to a bullet terminal like this one there. So this dash here is our proven, we know, GS GT loom. Green plug, we've gone to the second last terminal on the top, which is your red with a white wire, which normally on the Falcon 500 loom goes to the cluster plug on terminal 8. That's the one that's missing. But over here we've got the one that goes to the row of gauges at the top of the dash. So we'll set our multimeter to ohms, flick it across till it gives an audible tone. That's hooked up, we test it, there's our tone, and we go into this one, same thing. So then to prove it, or more so prove it to myself so we know we're not going to cut the wrong wire, come over to the Falcon 500 dash, green plug, top row, last connector. There is no red with a white coming out to go to the gauges because it's over here on your main terminal block. And this one is going to be, where is it? Plug 8. So over here. And there it is. So we know that's our wire that we want. So now, turn this off so it doesn't go flat. So what we want to do is unpick the red with a white out of terminal 8 because we don't need it, and then we're going to trace it back through to here, and it's at this junction point here where we need to bring it up. I'll work out the length basing it off of that loom and cut it, and then that wire that would normally be going all the way around to here, I'm going to then transfer that connector into the one for the tack signal, which, if I'm correct, was terminal number, can't see, number 4 on this side, which is the one that he's added in, the white with the blue, which goes into the blue block. Oh, white with a green. Hang on, no, it's not. So it's this one here, top corner on the blue. That's got the fresh terminal in it that he's added. And if I grab the multimeter again, and bump you guys out of the way. Okay, so we're on the added in wire that he's put into the loom there. So that goes to our tack signal on the multi-plug. Where was it? Which one did he add? That one there. So up there it's white with a green trace. Down here on the block he's got a yellow, mustard yellow with a white trace, but it's in terminal 7. So we're going to move the one that we take out of 8 and put it into 7 and join into the blue block up here on this loom. So that's him there. Number 8 is going to go across. We'll splice a wire into it in the loom where it's taped in and you can't see the colour. Bring it up and add a terminal up in there to that corner block, and that'll be our tack feed to our dash cluster. Okay, so I've got a little bit of wire and a couple of screwdrivers and probes, so I can try and get in here and release this terminal. So you should be able to slide that pin in from the front and just gently push on it. And once I get it to release, that should go up. That one's not going to fit. Try this one. Come on. Where's it from the back on these ones? Try this one. Don't want to damage that socket, so I'll have to find something a bit smaller. I had something the other day. Give me 2 secs. Okay, so we've got it now. So from the front face, I call it the front face, that's the part that plugs into the dash. Put the bit of spring steel wire in through and then lift it up underneath, and you push the wire in and pull out. And now we've got that wire to release out of that socket. So we're going to feed in back through. And what I've done with the loom, everywhere I've unloomed it, everywhere there was a junction, I've put cable ties loosely around where the junction is, so I know that's a branch that's going to come out, and they're all in the same places, both looms, just different wires coming out. So now I have to release this red one out of the first 2 without damaging the terminal, because I want to save that one. And then we get it back to this junction, and that one there we're going to pull it through because I want it to come from this side of the junction here and out. So grab him out of the loom. Come pulling through. The first cable tie, but not the second. Pull it up through so he goes with those green wires there, and passing through. So now when we loom that harness back up and tape it back up, it's coming out where it's supposed to, which is the same on this one over here, up here. So now what I need to do is work out the length of that. I'll trim it to length and we'll transfer the rest over into that tack signal. So it needs about 8 inches coming out of the junction on the loom. So over here on this one, grab the side cutters. So from the loom, we're going to give it 8. I'll probably go to 9, just so I've got a little bit of leeway when I put it in the dash. So that's going to go up there to that one. And this terminal is the one we're now going to take our cluster block and transfer him. He was in number 8, we're going to pop it in number 7. And it should make a click for us. There we go. That's now our tack signal that we need to run to the other side of there. Okay, so we've just finished pinning out all of the blue and all of the green, and we obviously found our temp sender wire that we removed from the cluster plug on the other dash and ran up here the same as they've done on the GS dash. We also found the yellow with a white that was going down to terminal number 10 on the cluster plug of the original Falcon 500 loom, and it was out of that last one, out of that green plug, and we've snipped it off because it needs to come up here where that temp one was, and that's where our accessory fuel gauge goes, up the top. So we've done them, they're up there, they're out of that loom section there. So they're the two big differences out of the green terminal. The one out of the blue terminal is identical. The only thing we need to do is add that tack signal into the red wire that we transferred from number 8 over to number 7. So we can then wire that up. We're going to do that later on. I'm just going to go through and finish checking the pinouts on the white one compared to the GS loom. And again, it's going to be just checking for resistance and continuity between one terminal at a time, confirm it, and then find where in the loom it comes to and where it needs to come out. And we'll keep going through there. So I'm not going to make you sit down and watch that. That is hideously boring and slow. So I'll just put it on some time lapse and we'll go from there. Right, so we've started doing, if I can get this cable around here, so we've started doing the pinouts on the white socket, and I started on probably the worst one to start with, but it's the upper one there in the top corner, the green wire. that by memory, because I don't have a wiring harness for one of these cars, which wiring harness diagram for one of these cars, which is making this slower than it should be. The green wire is the one that powers up all, or a lot of, the idiot lights, warning lights, too late lights, that kind of stuff. And it also powers up the flasher can and the indicator lights on the dash. So all the plugs along here with the double green wires going into them, so the input into the flasher, that's the one out of that top one. It comes into this, and then it comes out the other side of that double wire, comes along, and it's the same on the GS loom. It's exactly the same. So it then comes along, and the next one, where is it? Comes out to this one. So double green in, and a blue with a white trigger, and then the other half of the double green going out. That is the same on this one over here, and it's in the same location. So then the green wire we've traced back in to the loom, and it comes along and comes out to this too late light, which was the oil pressure light, because it's got the white trigger going to it. The GS loom doesn't have that because it doesn't run an oil pressure light. So the green wire coming in there and then going out, by what I can work out, and I have to double check that just at the moment, is this one that's bridged into a double wire in with a bullet terminal on it. The white wire is this one going to a single bullet for our oil pressure gauge. So we have to take our white wire off of there, snip him, and he goes up to the bullet terminal up there. Then the next step is on tracing. I've gotten up to this part of the green wire. I've got to follow him back through the loom and see where it comes out and ends up out here, because this part of the loom plug has it going into there as well, to then provide power to the circuits for the left and right indicator markers on the dash and stuff like that. Alright, I'll put this thing back on charge and I'll keep going through and bring you into we're at the next spot. Right, so we had to duck out to JCar Electrical for a quick minute because my soldering iron blew up. So what we've done while the camera's been charging is the, where is it here? So the bulb socket that was for the oil pressure light on the standard Falcon dash had 2 green wires going to it and a single white trigger wire. The white wire is the one that we've run down here to go with the single 4.5mm bullet terminal that needs to go on the end, the female bullet, along with the yellow and the red and the white. They're going to the gauges up the top. The green that was going to them is the one main green wire that goes through and ends up down in the cluster connector, and it feeds up into the backlight fittings and whatnot. So wherever there's a double green going in and out, that one stays the same, didn't have to be modded. Trace it through. These were the 2 going to the oil pressure light. They've been cut off and they will get a 4.5mm female bullet put on them, and then that feeds back into the loom again, comes along and was going along to the cluster connector. Then I found it here where these 3 wires come up, the red, yellow and white, and I cut it so that way we can run 2 extensions up there, and this one, once I solder it, will go back in and up there. That will end up with another 4.5mm female bullet connector. So we've got this one here and this one here, and they're the 3 coloured ones there for the gauges. They all go along those 4 gauges at the top of the dash. Then that will terminate over here in the connector, and that's that side of things done. So I'll put this back up here. The new soldering iron's heating up. Let's see if we can get this one done without it burning out. So whether it's good, bad or whatever, the way I solder them is, get that stable, I've stripped 2 pieces of wire and then I feed them into each other and twitch them together so it's not all bulky. So it's only the same diameter, overall diameter, as the standard wiring loom. And then we'll tin the soldering iron. And we'll give them a coat. So now we'll warm, ooh, there we go, bumping it everywhere. Get in under here and give that a warm up. A little bit of solder on the iron so it's ready to go on. And then we coat the solder on the outside of the wire so it draws it through to the iron. And you know the joint isn't just coated on the outside, it's actually coated through the center of the wire. And we don't end up with a dry joint. Yeah. Stuff around. Try and see this thing. Okay, there we go. And that'll let it cool down. And then we'll pop a bit of heat shrink over the outside of it to seal it up and make it look a bit neater. cool enough. Turn it low. Okay, and that's another one done. Then we take that one, pass him back through the cable tie. And that gets him, where is it? There. Those two together. Those two together there, one's a bit long. And they will go to another 4.5 millimeter bullet. Now, J-Card didn't stock anything like that. I'm going to have to jump online and see what I can find. They just had the normal red, blue and yellow female connectors, which are 4.2 mil, and they won't fit the terminals on the back of the dash. So I have seen them online, so I'll just leave these for now because I'll need one for there, and those three for there. And then we need to jump back onto checking the remainders of the terminals on that white block. So the next one, because that's got that green wire terminated over to there now, so we've done every junction out to there, and it's terminating back down there. And we can double check that we've got a good connection by so if I go on the white connector over here, where was it? Should have been the top one. And it went to the flasher, and from the flasher it went up to this bulb holder. From that bulb holder it went to the oil pressure light, which was these ones, and then it goes across there, but they're not joined, so they're not going to give me a signal. But now what I can do is take that one off of there, chuck this one back in, and now we're going to go, which one was it? This one. Just pop that off. And these ones. Relabel it. easier if I just do this, twitch them together for now. There. And we'll join those two together for now. And we can put that other connector back on. Where did I put it? There we go. So now with those two twitched together, simulating having the connectors on them, we can go back to this one, which then feeds to this one, which then feeds to that one. So our green wire going through there is all good. Next one we jump to is going to be the second one along. Was it the second one along? Which is a green with a black trace. This thing onto it. There we go. So green with a black trace is going to be that one, which is the other side of the flasher unit. And I think that's the only one in here. Green with black, green with black, none of them. This one. Nope. 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 So yeah, so it's the single side of the flasher unit is the green with the black, which is the second one along on the top. And we can confirm that on this one. Unplug the single terminal off the flasher can. Same. So realistically I've just got to keep doing that for the other, what is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 connectors on there, and then we're done. Okay, so we're down to our last little bit. So far we haven't added anything to the loom. What we've done is, out of the original loom for the Falcon 500, take stuff out and relocate it. So now what's in this GS loom that's not in a Falcon 500 loom is this earth with the 4.5mm round bullet, these two light sockets, and this single earth, and they all go back to terminal number, where is it? Terminal number 9 on the dash cluster plug. So we're going to add that in. So what we've got is a length of black wire, 3mm, and we're going to get this LED light out of your way, so hopefully it doesn't keep strobing, but it may do. So what we're going to do is copy the length. So this couple of meters is to go from this socket out, and the first point is up to this one, and then it doubles back down up to this one, doubles back down up to this one, doubles back down across and out to this one. So I'm going to go from here if I had this thing the right way around, down to there, and it goes to there, to there, and that's where it comes up. So our first piece is going to be that long. And the strippers. And like I said, I'm going to have to jump online and try and find some of those insulated female 4.5mm bullets, because no one around here's got them. But for now, we'll just twitch those two together, and that is going to represent that one. So then we go, how did I do that? Oh yeah, that goes there, all the way around to the plug. This one then goes back down to the loom, and then it comes up on itself again to here. Putting stuff in different spots. Strip those two. And that one is going to represent, so it goes down there, this one going back down to here, which I'm going to say is about that long. And that's going to get a insulated female connector on it, so it can go to the wiring, sorry, the bulb holder for the dash bulb. Okay, so that then goes as a pair back down to there. That then comes up to about here. crimp another one on that. Oops, missed it. So that's sitting back down there like that. And this goes down there. Now he has to go along there and come up to about here. Give it a little bit more. And that one's going to be an insulated spade journal. That one. Pretty sure that's the one that goes to the earth on the back of the auxiliary gauges. That one. And that's our grounds for all of those. So now we have to add them in over there. And the bulb holder that we used for the one that we cut off the oil pressure light is going to be the one that goes into this spot. What do I do? So yeah, that comes up and that goes down. So that's going to be the earth on this one. And I just ran through my stash of old wiring looms and cut this one out. And this one's going to be good enough for now, because I will have to buy some of these proper socket holders. You can buy them, but again, the local J-Car doesn't stock them, so this will do for now. And then that one went to there. So next thing we have to do is run these blues for the feed for them. So what we'll do is lay this out on here and tuck it into the cable ties on this one. So that one's going to come up. Where's that one coming up? Comes up through that one. So the double green and blue. And that, so it's got to come up through there. So that's where the first one's going to feed up to for the insulated bullet, which was this one. And it's set about just under the length of them. So we've got that there. This is going to come across, actually, it's about the same length as that one, isn't it? Yeah, so it's about the same length as that one. So we'll bring it back a bit. That then lets this one come up to the middle of there. And pop this cable tie off for a sec. looser this time so I don't have to cut it off again. So that's going to let that feed up to there. It should be, oh, hang on, 2 seconds, I've put that in the wrong spot. I brought that up here with those ones wrong. These two are supposed to be up out of that same bundle. My bad. So I'll cut this cable tie off. And take that out. So this one is supposed to go there and up. This one goes there and up. This one goes back down because they all have to come out of the same bundle. And then that one goes over there, right. And this one goes through here. Comes out of that bundle over there. So this group will stay down there. How are we going to bundle this? Okay guys, so if you hung around to the end of this video, I know it's long, I'm sorry, but it's just one of those jobs. Thanks for hanging around. The loom's done. So I've had to turn some of the lights off in the shed because the LED lights play havoc with the phone, and my GoPro battery's dead. But there's the loom we've swapped over. So like I was saying in the beginning, we've just got a couple of terminals we have to find, the 4.5mm barrel ones, which are these ones there. But everything else down here, that's the one that goes to the dash. We reused plugs that were in there, or terminals that were in there and not being used, and just relocated them. You need 2 bulb socket holders, which you can buy online. The ones that this guy's used, just plug in with little spade terminals on the bottom. And what else was there? We had to add 1 terminal into the main harness block that goes into the firewall, which is the one up in the top corner there for the tack signal. So we added that, and they're just off the shelf at JCar. Ran a wire all the way through to the one we repinned down here. And then we had to add the black ground cables for there and all the extra lights we ran in, which we just tapped into there's 2 black wires in the back of the dash here that bridge together, and there's a loop that just loops around. We cut into the loop, soldered onto there, and then ran it up and ran all of those. And the blues to trigger it are off of here, that light that was already there. So that one, yeah, it was that one. So that wire there, where the blue with the black trace was going back down to go through back to here. When it got to here, we just tapped into it and ran up to there and back down across. So realistically, the only thing we had to add in was a couple of little lengths of green wire, some blue wire that were already there, and the 1 wire for the tack. So long day, but you get there. No wiring diagram, which would have made it a lot quicker, but just going through with a multimeter and pinning out and checking where all the resistance was for continuity is where we found where the wires were and where they went to. So again, thanks for hanging around. See you next time. Bye.